Hello and welcome to Fire Pro Wrestling World Fire Promoter and Highbrow Wrestling. With a name like that, you know my wrestlers are going to be super serious. But I am going to still treat the game play part of it seriously. So let's go over how this works for anyone who may not know. I'm playing on hard mode, which means I start with $100,000. I start with 6 wrestlers. I have 12 in my roster, but I can only use 6. I'm using 6 customs. The other 6 are technically also customs, but what they are is if you play this mode and you don't use a promotion you created, you start with a default promotion. The 6 wrestlers it assigns you for that game, for that mode rather, someone went into the game files, pulled all of their like CPU moves and logic and everything, and recreated them as downloadable wrestlers. So I downloaded those versions of them so that they could still be in the promoter mode, even though I'm not using them as my main roster. Because I actually do like using them. They're pretty neat characters, and I tweaked them, made my own tweaks to them to make them a little bit more on par with some of the big names. Because in the universe, I assume they're big name wrestlers because they're from the actual game. So then I did a couple other things. I was going to do what a lot of people who've done this before did and download the fanciest, craziest, most realistic models possible. And I tried that 3 times and I kept getting a bunch of missing heads and custom face parts that make them more realistic looking. And I got fed up with having to reset my saves. So I am now using either no DLC models or ones with like 6 to 7 DLC parts or less, that it was quick for me to click on individual parts and to confirm they worked before downloading. Anything with more than about 6 or 7 I didn't bother with. And ideally none, even if they were a little less realistic. If you know Fire Pro Wrestling, you know they're more or less they're sort of that, almost like Stardew Valley, in that they're like a modern version of old school sprite type games. So they do look cleaner than the actual old sprite games, and a little crisper, but they're that style, so they're kind of cartoony and old school, so as long as you can tell who it is, it's good enough for me, is what I'm saying. Because after trying to be fancy with it, I just get tired of fighting with it. To that point though, there is a particular playlist, or wrestler list, collection is the word they use on Steam, that I've always wanted to use, that I actually discovered through another person's YouTube channel, called Fire Pro Complete. And what the person I saw playing it didn't make them, they just downloaded them same as I did. This creator, though, has been a longtime Fire Pro fan, and went and recreated all the old, real and fictional wrestlers from all the old Fire Pro games in this one. So like AJ Styles was in an old Fire Pro game. So even though he had a modern little to no DLC model, I didn't bother downloading it because I'm using all the Fire Pro Complete models first. So it's more like 2005, 2016 AJ. Still put him in the modern WWE roster for accuracy, but it is that age of model. Plus, it's just fun to have all the Fire Pro worlds come together, so to speak. That still wasn't enough to fill all. This is a 16 plus me promotion. You'll see in the top corner there, it's a 17 total, 1 player, and then 16 CPU. So after doing all the real New Japan people that are in this game, all the classic models and everything else, both DLC and Fire Pro, limited DLC and Fire Pro Complete, I still couldn't fill as many slots as I needed to because I wanted to do the full huge 17 roster version. There are smaller ones, but this is the one I wanted to do because it's the hardest one. So I then made rosters of American legends, Japanese, well, more so North American legends. I just wrote US because biggest promotions are usually in the US, past and present. So I did US legends, Japan legends, Latin America legends, because that's what they call the sort of Mexican lucha sort of area in this game, and European. In this case, I put EA because it's Europe and Asia legends that are not Japanese. So, like, you know, the Iron Sheik might be in here, that type of thing. Stardom came as a DLC with the game, so I just left them in. I set everybody to 15 for their starting rosters, so that they'd have enough people to put on decent shows, but then we could still have lots of free agents to both hire and also still search for through the scouting system. So I was like, and then I got, you know, ECW stuff, so I'm like, okay, I still don't have enough, even when I split the legends up. So what do I do now? I was like, well, what if, and then in my searches for more wrestlers, I think I actually started with the idea of looking up CWF, which is the Custom Wrestling Federation. That's what I named it. I just looked up other people's genuinely just created, mostly it seemed like people created them for like E-Feds, and then they used Fire Pro to sim the matches. I thought about breaking it into the feds that they said they made them for, but that was then too many, so for what I had in mind, so I just put them all as Custom Wrestling Federation. So that still wasn't enough. Still all the slots. But while I was searching for that led me to VWA, which is actually, I didn't even mean to do it, but it's actually what they called the league in old 8-bit Nintendo Pro Wrestling. That roster is in there. In the VWA, as well as several other PS1 era or older fictional wrestler rosters, like Natsume Championship Wrestling, Power Move Pro Wrestling, Hammerlock Wrestling, stuff like that. But I still didn't have all my slots full. So I'm like, well, what if I go the other way and do non-wrestling video game characters? Well, this is video game wrestling, and this is Virtual Wrestling Association. VWA is video game originals, but it is from wrestling video games. Video game wrestling is everybody else. You know, your Chris Redfields, your Nemesis, your Mario and Luigi, stuff like that. So I grabbed 40 or 50 of those, but I still had a slot left. So then I decided to make the Hollywood Wrestling Federation. That's your TV. Sometimes it's actors. Usually it's characters that they played. But sometimes it's the actor names. You know, movie stars, TV stars, musicians, stuff like that. And I was fine doing that because with a name like Highbrow Wrestling, you can guess that my roster is pretty silly for the purposes of the commentary and stuff. So I didn't care if the rosters were a bit silly. After all that rambling, let's begin. Probably should have scripted that so it didn't take me 8 minutes to get through. But that's okay. So I kind of skimmed through that, but let me read this part. Also, I will have the music turned back on in a moment before we can continue with booking. This is the second or third time tonight as a recording that I started the setup and then had to exit the menus for some reason, and you have to reset all that custom stuff. So I just said, screw it, I'll talk over nothing, the silence, and then once we get into the main game, I'll save the file, and then I'll leave and turn the music and stuff back on. But for now, I skipped the first line, but here's the second one. First, we have to take this group of nobodies and turn them into somebody. You saw something special when you signed them. Time to develop that potential. We're all counting on you, boss. Take us to the top. We are in year 1, January. We have 1 show a month in Corona mode. Welcome to your new position as the new CEO. Starting this month, you're calling the shots. Your job is to book events to boost the popularity of your promotion and wrestlers to compete on the world stage. Let's start by setting up our first event. Events are the lifeblood of the company. Fans will expect match styles that match your promotion style. The rest is up to you. Take us to the top, boss. So, first thing I'm going to do, before anything else, is save the file so I can exit the mode. And that initial setup we went over is done. And now I'll go back into my options, sound. That's on. Why am I not hearing anything? Maybe you guys are. Hopefully you are. I want you to be. I did turn it off intentionally for the match, just so you could hear the crowd more and the commentary. But anyway, whatever's going weird with my headphones that I listen to the game through, I'll figure that out between recording. For now, we're gonna do some show off our roster. But before we do, I'm going to rearrange our stables. We start with stables. I have good guys, goodies, baddies. These are the actual starting 6 where I'm in stables, like 3 and 3, that I want them to have for like basically role-playing purposes. But I don't have them all in there, and the reason this is ordered like this is because based on where in these, what they start with and in what order, they start with different stats as far as like popularity and stuff. And I wanted my top singles good guy and my top singles bad guy to be 1A and 1B. Problem is, what it normally does is it'll, like for body function, yes, these are silly names, and you can see, we'll get into that silliness in a minute. But ignoring the stupidity of the names, if you look at the order, top guy will automatically be higher ranked than the lower guy, even in the same faction. And it normally, so if I put all 6 of the, if I put 3 here and 3 here, these 3 will all be higher than these 3. So I mixed them up like this to get the even split of good and bad popularities that I wanted. But now, I actually want to arrange them to where they're supposed to be. In order to do that, I'm going to move him there. Oh, no, I'm not. I'll have to leave them for now. What I can do, however, is flip these. Oh no, you're supposed to stay there. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Jesus. Sorry. You. Go there. You. Go there. I don't want to erase these 2. So I will have to leave them there until I have hired more people to to join these factions, because if you have the factions with 0 people in them, they delete them. And I don't want them to do that. Having said that, now we're going to save those small changes. Let's go to records and help. Wrestler stats. So this is the order I want of popularity I wanted them all to have. More or less. I gotta flip them around a little bit. So actually, let me do that quickly. Manage stables. There we go. Now they should be in the right order. So, top babyface. The Stainmaker. P. Myself. Top heel, the King of Fat Style, Fatso Gulligal. Also a member of P. Myself's bodily function, the Human Trumpet, Toots Marino. His partner, and his tag team partner when I have tag team titles, the Wife Waker, Vlad Chulins. Then from the evil side, the Dumps, we have the Washroom Warrior, Poop McCluskey, and his identical twin, despite being way bigger than him, the Bathroom Brawler, Poopy McPherson. Deadly serious. This is why I referred to it as highbrow wrestling. This is why I also stressed that gameplay-wise, I will still take the gameplay part seriously, but the commentary and the wrestlers I start with will be completely goofy. Because why not? It's something fun to do. And talking about making these guys in this game is what inspired me to even do a playthrough right now. So, screw it, we're going with it. Also, you'll notice that even though he's 7 feet, 537 pounds, it has a J next to his name, which stands for Junior Heavyweight. In this game, you set their height and weight, but you set the heavyweight or junior part separately. And I just made all of them juniors for the simple fact that it auto assigns you a heavyweight, which is essentially open weight, anyone can fight for it belt, and also junior belts, similar to how Japanese wrestling does it. Problem with that is there tends to be a lot more people listed as heavyweight in the downloaded wrestlers than juniors. And I like to have the option to use both belts pretty early, especially the singles ones early. So since you have the option to separate their actual numbers of height and weight from their listing, I just made them all juniors just so I could have them all interchangeably fight for the belts at the start. So, training center, this is our gym. I'm not going to pay to upgrade that right now. I am going to buy the sandbag just to get us started with a little cheap thing. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to produce some merchandise. I personally like to start with goods. You can do branded snacks as well. I definitely recommend one of the two cheap, $10 or $12 ones. The $10 or $12 is how much you are in-game charging the fans. So if they're cheaper, especially when you're a newer promotion, they're more likely to buy a few. The reason I switched to goods is not only are they worth $2 more for not much more production cost, but also branded snacks are food. So you'll see there it says must be sold the month they're produced. For at least 2 to 3 months, you will not sell all of the 1,000 of something you make because you're popular. Yet the crowds are still getting used to you. So the goods are around the same price to make and sell, but they don't expire. So that's why I switched to those once I realized that. Now, I'm going to save that. We're going to hire somebody. We might not even do our first show. This might all just be preamble. I didn't intend for it to be, but it's kind of what it's turned into. And that's fine, honestly. I really want to get Penta, and he is strong style, which is the type I picked for us. However, he's fairly expensive for... He has decent stats, but he's fairly expensive for this early in the game for the popularity that he gives us. What I'm going to do instead, 4 out of those 6 I was going to say real life, but 4 out of the 6 people that would be our default roster in a non-created mode are available. The Hollywood hunk Jack Howard. Also, they have named finishers. That's the other reason I like to download the custom versions of them, because the default ones, they just have their move names. They don't have, like, Package Pile Driver is his finisher. But myself and Rad Gnarly, someone that I used to like watching do this and still rewatch their playthroughs, which is another thing that inspired me to want to do one now, because I've been rewatching Rad's from the past. Came up with the name Rating Spike for the Hollywood hunk. For the Divine Matt Robinson, Divine Intervention. For the Hell Rider, for the Hell Knight Mickey Williams, the Hell Rider, which is a Russian neck drop for anyone familiar with WWF No Mercy. One of my favorite moves of all time in a wrestling game. And the Convict Bill Bullock with True Conviction, which is a Phoenix Plex hold, which is where you put them in a power bomb and you tuck their head and neck inward, basically against the top of your head, and then you drop them on the back of their neck and head, and you bridge into a pin. It is really cool and hard to describe. I also didn't tweak most of these people's stats. So like AJ, his stats are based on his model from the game that he was in, because it's a Fire Pro model. Like Jey Uso's I tweaked a bit, and to give him, as part of giving him his new look and stuff. So the ones that I customized, I tweaked their stats a bit, but a lot of them I did not. I should really get Damian Priest, even though he's a showman. He's very popular in America, and that would be great for me. Also, Diamond Dallas Page. But realistically, what I should probably do is find a strong style person, like, I don't know, Vader or Macho Man Randy Savage, and see if I can get them. But I also am just starting out, so I don't need people that are crazy popular, because all my people are B or less. I just need someone with at least a C, who's not crazy expensive, and has okay stats. In that vein, I'm going to probably try to hire Billy Gunn, if I'm honest. But we'll look around a bit more first. But yeah, you can see that that's clearly a model of Kane, but it's clearly a Fire Pro model of Kane, because it's not actually Kane. The person who recreated them gave them their real names, but in the Fire Pro, he'd have been like Flaming Jim or something like that, because copyright. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Doug Furnace wouldn't be a bad pickup, with a C+ and B for attack and defense. Fairly cheap and decent popularity for our area. D'Lo Brown, he's a little bit more expensive, but Giant Bernard, although he's in his Albert costume there. That is Albert / Tensai / A-Train. Ken Shamrock. Oh yeah, let's see. Low Key. Mike Barton, who is Bart Gunn, his real name. P.D. William. Problem is he's a C+ and C, and most of my guys are B+ and A's because I made their stats. I didn't jack them to like full or anything, but I made them on the higher end of good and still somewhat realistic. So I would give PD higher stats than that, but they didn't. Terry Gordy would be a very good choice. So let's see who we're going to settle on. Shane O'Mac? No, definitely not. Mr. Perfect would be a good choice. Carl Anderson wouldn't be a bad choice. MC Hammer, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Anthony Kiedis, Barry White, Garfield, although his stats are terrible, because the guy who made him didn't actually design him, he just made the appearance and then was like, make it yourself. I didn't realize when I downloaded him. Alice Cooper, Conan O'Brien, who for some reason has like a stupidly giant head, but I don't care because it's comedic for our purposes. Carl Winslow, the Joker. Sophia Petrillo from the Golden Girls. That's probably who I'm going to go for, I'm not going to lie. Jerry Seinfeld. Sam Losco from Trailer Park Boys. Sam Warhammer from Hammerlock. I love that game. These guys are from other wrestling video games. Right now it's sorted by the promotion order that I showed you at the beginning, even though they're free agents. Joe Valentine, Liu Kang, Chris Redfield, Rob Van Dam, Terry Funk, Bam Bam Bigelow, Balls Mahoney, Steve Carino, Lance Storm, Ryan Storm, whoever that is, Chris Candido. So most of this stuff, once I do it the first couple episodes, I will do it off camera, so that this is faster to get into the matches. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna go for it because I like using these guys with the updated stats. I gave him and stuff anyway, and he's the right style, even though he's a little more expensive than I'd like him to be. We're gonna hire him. Perfect. I didn't have to reset. Also, I was giving myself 3 chances. per person, but in order to do that, you have to exit the game. It'll only let you offer. See how that's blank now? You can only offer a contract once by default. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put Jack Howard into the good guys table, so I can take P myself, put him into body function. Well, bodily function is what it's really supposed to be. I'm going to move these two into no affiliation. And then I'll put those two back in there. And now they're in the correct order. Perfect. Now once I hire someone else, I can do the same thing with the other team. So, we've done all of that. So, in our next installment, which actually I'll set up now because, give or take, most of the episodes, I'll probably watch 1 to 2 matches. Eventually, I might watch all of them as like a big pay-per-view type storyline in the game as I make up my own stories. For now, though, I'm mostly going to simulate them just to see how we're doing with the actual gameplay, and then just watch like a main event here and there. For this round of recording, I probably won't watch any because I'm still getting over a pretty nasty chest cold. And while I'm able to control my coughing enough to talk, if I start doing I'm still going to treat commentary seriously, even with goofy wrestler names, which means I'm going to get into it, and I'm probably going to hurt my throat. So for this recording session, I probably will just simulate and show you more about how the behind the scenes of the game. But we need to invite some people to help us sell out our first show the way I want to. So now I'm going to go alphabetically. I'm going to try to find some people who work pretty goddamn cheap. Not going to lie to you. I mostly just kind of want warm bodies at this point. The cheaper, the better. Like, his stats are so awful that even though he's that cheap, he's too cheap. Yeah, but like this guy is pretty good. Can I get a couple 500s that aren't total trash? Like, he's got good stats, just no popularity. So he's a perfect kind of choice. $400? Alright, well, fine. I'm also going to give myself 3 strikes for this type of stuff. I'm just, for the first show, since we've already gone long and this is all intro, I'm not going to do it. This is just invites anyway. But normally I will do 3 strikes and I'm out rules for this stuff as well. You have good stats and are the right type. Man, can somebody just work with me, please? C+, C+. Why? Not at this sort of event. First of all, I haven't booked it yet, so you don't know what kind of event it is. And second of all, you're the same type as me, so it's probably gonna be the same type of event you want to work. Now see, when I did an offline run of this to make sure all the downloads worked and everything, Wardlow would join me every time, and I had all the same settings. Why? Sure. Anywho. $700, you say? 1,100. Cool, I got somebody to join. So I have 7 hired roster members because I did hire successfully Jack Howard. So now my goal is to guest hire, which is what we're doing here, inviting for a single show basically. 3 people so that I can have 5 total matches. The cards in this game will go up to 10 matches. I like to try and immediately, that's why I want them so cheap so that I can hire 3 of them. I like to start with 5 matches right off the bat, even though I have to hire people to do it. I don't even care if the matches are all that good. I mean, I do to a point because it obviously helps you make money faster and things. But mainly, I just want some bodies so that I can fill a card and try to make some profit right away. I mean, not at this sort of event. Again, you don't know what kind of event I'm holding. So how do you know you don't want to work it? Nevertheless, Ryan Storm. Great. 3 absolute dog water people. Taya Valkyrie is a real person. But so we're gonna call it there. I will much more quickly get through the booking phase this time because my intro won't be 8 minutes of explanation. And we will simulate a few cards, probably 2 to 3, with the speed that I go once I'm going. I'll probably do that for maybe the first year, just to make it easy and to keep track of. And then once the first year is done in game and in real time, once I'm not sick anymore, I will start doing commentary for at least one match per video. Until next time, peace out.